Welcome to the 4th annual Ragamuffin Awards. Fourth.
Wow.
And for the first time, we're coming to see visually.
We are here as people. We exist.
And some of us dressed up for the occasion.
Some of us didn't get the memo.
Some of us thought about
some of
doing
us
it,
in the
but
post.
forgot to order things.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Alex.
I'm James.
And I'm Dan.
We are the Ragamuffins, in case you didn't know. And this is our awards. It's been another great bloody year.
Yeah, there's been so many great songs, albums, artists. So we're going to discuss through what our personal favourites are, come up with a collective award as of the Ragamuffin Song of the Year, Album of the Year, whatever it may be. We've also got our Ragamuffin Club involved. They're going to have their own Album of the Year, which they voted on over the past few days.
New award for the first time ever.
If you're not in that Ragamuffin Club, get on Facebook. It's in the link in description. It's all free. We have so many great discussions about music in there, and we'll get to what their pick is for album later on. Been a fantastic year for music, as we've said, and I feel like a good way to start that off is with Song of the Year.
Yeah, we don't have any live performances this evening like the Heavy Music Awards does.
No, maybe
But
next year.
I think we are giving out more awards than they do. So
Maybe a Worst Wishes set next
And
year.
more reputable, probably.
maybe
Yeah,
not
I'd
as
argue
heavy.
that.
How's this going to work, I hear you ask? There's 3 of you. Great question. So we're each going to give our top 3 in each category, and then we're going to sort of meander our way through figuring out like an aggregate winner. We just kind of wing it.
It's quite a democratic process.
It's a democratic process.
Song of the Year.
Would you like to kick us off, Ali?
I'd love to. Now, I want to say at the top, I've really struggled philosophically this year with the awards between my head and my heart. Should I put down what I think the best songs are or what my favourite songs are? And I've sort of accidentally done a mix of the two all the way through. So there might be some in here that you think, don't know about that one, but just know that it was special to me. With that being said, at number 3, I've got Giants Despair by One Step Closer. I spent a lot of time with their album All You Embrace this year, and this song I think is the best song on the album. I think that this band is like slowly working towards sort of becoming a generation-defining band within the space that they're in the same sort of vein that Title Fight and Basement were in their day, and even Movements in their early era. I think All You Embrace is like a slept-on album in the emo/hardcore scene, and this is the best song on that album, and I love it. So that's my number 3. Am I doing all mine? Yeah. At number 2, I've got Suffocate by Knock Loose featuring Poppy.
Suffocate.
The best song on the album, and just ludicrous that they did that reggaeton beat as a breakdown. Poppy's feature, there's nothing I love more than a feature that like actually sounds like it's properly a collaborative like effort. Sometimes you just get a verse that's like tacked on and you can tell that it's just whatever. Whereas this, it feels like she's really like inhabiting the band and like comfortably sharing the space with Brian on the song, and they both sound fucking ferocious and angry, and the song is brilliant. But my number 1 song of the year is Creature by Landmarks.
Nice.
It set the bar pretty high pretty early, a January single.
January, yeah.
And I think one of us probably said at the time, well, that's the best song of the year so far. Everything else has got to measure up to that. And for me, like, I think the different routes that this song goes and the different sort of... There's the rapping intro, which is fun. The verses are really fucking heavy and, like, thrashy. And then it opens up to just one of the biggest choruses. Like, just, it sounds to me like about as close as I think metalcore can be to being, like, anthemic. And the breakdown is so sick. So, yeah, my song of the year is Creature by Landmarks.
So for me in third place it comes Heavy as the Crown by Linkin Park.
Nice.
I think as they've come back this year, this is the song in particular when it was released that really kind of showed a throwback to old Linkin Park, but also introduced new Linkin Park. The dynamic in the vocals between Mike and Emily, I think, is fantastic. We have a lovely breakdown. We have a lovely long scream and almost paying homage
Lovely.
to Chester. It's amazing with it. Like that 15 seconds, just short of the Given Up one. It's almost like that paying homage to it. And I think it's such a catchy song, incredibly well written. Absolute banger. My number 2 is the same as you. Just to add on for Knock Loose Suffocate, it's been nominated for a Grammy. I completely agree with you with the Poppy collaboration. It feels like with some collaborations, they're not necessarily adding to the song and it's just there for the sake of it. This really is adding to the song. Musically, it's the best song on that album, I believe. And it's just so strong. There is a great dynamic back and forth with them two as well, with Brian and Poppy on it. Musically, I think it's fantastic, straight with kind of the riff on the opening from Isaac. Phenomenal song. Number 1 is pretty much no surprise. It is also Creature by Landmarks. As soon as I heard it, January, like you say, I was like, this will probably be my song of the year. It's being consistent on my plays throughout the year. I could bet a lot of money this is going to be top of my Spotify Wrapped as we're recording this beforehand. And it, like you say, it has everything. It shows off the whole dynamics of what Landmarks are and why they are one of the best metalcore bands out there right now. You hear everything within that. Flo has such great dynamic range within his vocal abilities. Musically, I think it's fantastic. The breakdown, the drumming from Kevin, I think is amazing. This is a step forward from them, and they're now teasing more music for next year. So this may be me just predicting next year. Probably going to be my album of the year if they follow down this route. But for right now, my 2024 song of the year is Creature by Landmarks.
Very nice. I'm delighted to say that all 3 of mine are completely different to yours, which is fun. This is what this is all about. This is the category I had the most difficulty with. This is the one I had the longest shortlist for. There were songs by a long shortlist. I had songs on there by Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, Soft Play, and loads of other bands that narrowly missed out. But my top 3, at number 3, I've got Better Hell, brackets Thick Boy by Bill Murray. It's a recent discovery for me, but I just can't stop listening to that album. And that song in particular is the one that just gets stuck in my head every single time. I just love it so much, and I'm very excited to see him live. Them live? I guess. I don't know. Number 2 is Neck Deep, Sort Yourself Out. That new album this year has just completely re-solidified or re-secured Neck Deep's place as one of my favourite bands, and that song on that album is just a massive earworm, one that I've seen live a couple of times now. I've seen live once as well. And fucking loved it. No, seen twice. Yeah.
Heavy Music
Awards as well. And yeah, loved it. Just an amazing song, catchy. It's just a classic, pop punk classic, and I love it a lot. But not as much as number 1, which is going to Foxing with the song Gratitude, which is a song that I don't think you two have familiarised yourself with yet, but you should do, because this song just makes me feel like transcending. You know that TikTok filter where it's just someone flying through the stars and space and stuff. That's how that song makes me feel. It's got electronic moments. It's got some incredible soaring vocals in there. It's so experimental and mixes so many genres together in such a short song that it's probably, I don't do drugs, but it's probably what being on some kind of LSD would do. And I think that's why it has to be my song of the year. But I think that makes Landmarks Creature the Ragamuffin song of the year.
Officially, yeah. We got Landmarks.
Music video of the year.
You have said you don't really watch music videos, so you're going to omit yourself from this one.
Sadly.
So, between you and I, we've got to individually and collectively have a decision here on music video of the year. Kick it off, Ali.
Okay, wonderful. At number 3, I've got Counterparts with the Martyr Lamb double video. Is it sneaky to do a double video? Yes, it is. But I respect them for it. and I like the through line of the story. It's very graphic, which is cool, and very bloody. The performance shots all look sick. Yeah, amazing. Like, a lot of bands in that scene, well, a lot of bands generally, I think, can be quite sort of by the numbers with their music videos, and it feels like Counterparts really, like, went the extra mile to, like, put in some effort with that one. And number 2, I've got Alpha Wolf with Sucks to Suck. I'm a sucker for people having fun in their music videos. Not too much, like, if it's the Foo Fighters, it kind of winds me up. All of theirs are a joke. But, you know, everyone gets one, I think it's fair. And this is Alpha Wolf having a good old laugh. The song's sick, and it's just a fun video. But the number 1 video of the year for me is While She Sleeps to the Flowers. I guess the purpose of a video, right, is to, like, supplement the song and add another layer to your perspective and your, like, interpretation of the song. And I think that video adds so much weight to that song that it makes it, like, I think that's the perfect medium to, like, take in that song, is through that music video. So I think it has to be, for me, the best music video of the year.
So for me, number 3, again, similar to you, there are points I went with my head and went with my heart. This was going with my heart, and it was Creature by Landmarks. I think it's a very good video. I've watched the behind the scenes of when they're directing it and filming it, and you could see the thought that went into it, the creation of the creature that's in the music video, the effort and everything, I think just kind of added to my perspective of that music video. Number 2, much to your happiness, I've gone with Ice Nine Kills, a work of art, because I feel like if you're going to go in, have you actually watched it?
Yeah.
You have?
I have.
I do feel like if you're going to go in...
You don't look happy about having watched it.
I'm not.
Really? Okay, interesting.
Even with it muted?
I feel like you should be able to agree with me on this. I feel like if you're going to go in and do a song for the Terrifier franchise, you kind of have to make it bloody. You've got to step it up with what you're going to do with it. And I think they do it in the right vein. If you were going to do that, you have to do it correctly. And I think they did it correctly.
Well, yeah, my preferred option would be no Ice Nine Kills anywhere near it at all. So
that was my number 2. And my number 1 is While She Sleeps with the Flowers. Just to add on to what you said, I think that the music video is extremely powerful. When I've been going back and watching so many music videos recently, this was one I struggled with a lot. I was actually sat with a mate, and he saw this for the first time, and kind of afterwards in particular was like, Christ, that was a lot to take in. And because of the heaviness, I think within that, it gives you a different perspective on the song. It adds an entirely different layer to it. The time and effort that's evidently been put onto that music video is incredible. You kind of can emotionally connect with it at so many different parts. You are really pulled into the visuals, and you could sit and watch music videos and just be on your phone or whatever. This feels like with that song for the To the Flowers, you have to just sit and watch and take it in. And it is an absolute masterpiece. And I think directed by Aaron. And so if I'm correct in that, done an absolutely phenomenal job. But whoever did direct it, phenomenal job anyway. So I would say it's safe to say straight off the bat, tied number 1, While She Sleeps to the Flowers, is our Ragamuffin music video of the year.
EP of the year.
Now, I'm an albums man, and
Same.
when shortlisting for this award, I can only think of 2 EPs that I've listened to this year that I could recall.
I only think of 1.
Interesting. So number 2 is, for me, it's the recent Counterparts one. Can't remember the title of it, but
Heaven Let Them Die.
We've just reviewed it, and it's excellent.
Heaven Let Them Die.
Heavy as fuck, probably the heaviest they've ever been, at least in recent times. And I love it a lot. But my number 1 has to go to Unpeople. That's just such a special EP that I've had on repeat since it came out. Like, if I can't think of what to stick on for like a short car journey or something, that EP is going on. They've recently released The Garden for it as well. Every song they've released so far has just been a banger. And like, none of them take themselves too seriously as well. There's a bit of a Don Broco vibe to how they present themselves, with just the songs being just riffy and fun. And that's why I love that EP. It's why it's my favourite of the year. Tough competition though.
I only have the one, and that is Heaven Let Them Die by Counterparts. I think as a surprise drop when it came out, absolutely incredible. I have been spinning it so much. It's been like my gym listening for the past month now. Absolutely incredible. And yeah, go and check out our latest podcast where we did review it.
I do have 3. At number 3, I've got Long Goodbye with I Used to Dream of Drowning. I think the EP is the perfect format to introduce yourself as a band, and that's exactly what they've done here. It's fucking ferocious, brilliant, sort of throwback-esque metalcore with enough going on to keep you interested the whole way through. It's a perfect showcase of like what I think this band will be doing going forward, and proof be needed that the UK heavy scene is as fucking good as it's ever been. So that EP I really love, makes me really excited for the future of that band. And number 2, I've got Counterparts with Heaven Let Them Die. I love it. I think it's great. I think they probably could have made it an album if they'd just written a few more, but at the same time, it's enjoyable in the format that it is. But number 1 for me is Unpeople, self-titled. It's, like Dan said, so much fun. It's like a really good, if I don't know what else to listen to, like that's the first thing my brain goes to, which I think is like evidence of a really good, catchy body of work that like it's always at the forefront of my brain. So, and every time I listen to it, a different song is jumping out to me as like, oh, okay, this is really cool. This is really fun. I like this part. Huge things for that band. Future Trees headline, as I've said, and I will stand by that.
Big things coming. So, yeah, what does that make our number 1? We've got Unpeople with 2 number 1s, or we've got
Counterparts with 3
Counterparts
2s.
with a 1 and 2 2s.
I would go with Young People with it having 2 1s.
2 1s.
I think that does trump it.
Mm.
EP of the year.
Congratulations.
The winner of EP of the year.
Gig of the year.
What's better than music? Live music. We're into the live music section of the awards. Starting things off with Gig of the Year.
Gig of the year.
Go on, James, you take it first.
So this, I've really taken into account everything that's going to happen with a gig, whether it's the whole lineup, the venue. I feel like there's so many different factors that come into it to make it the best gig. My number 3 is Not Loose at Kentish Town Forum.
Forgot you went to that.
Yeah. Did you not?
I feel like Alex was trying to remember that he was there or not
did
then.
you?
No.
No. I wasn't too fussed with support. It was Deaf Heaven. Not really a big fan of them, but just the fact that having the phenomenal Not Loose set that I saw in Kentish Town Forum felt like just something incredibly special. I think we've got so many ties of going to that venue and seeing so many incredible bands at Kentish Town Forum. It's like a rite of passage to kind of see so many bands that I love in that venue, and that just collectively together with their set they've played and being in that venue was something incredibly special, and I absolutely love that. Number 2, I missed the opening band, which was Landmarks, which sucked, but then I got to see Beartooth and Polaris together at Alexandra Palace, and that was phenomenal to be in such a beautiful venue. Running in as Polaris had kind of just started and seeing you and M first of all, and then running into the pit and just seeing Glennie opposite me as soon as it opened up, and then just, like I say, falling in love with Polaris's music recently. And then Beartooth anyway. I think like hearing some of the new songs live definitely changed a bit of perspective for me. Still not my favourite release by them by far, but then it just felt like a proud father moment that I think we've all collectively had at various points where we've seen so many bands that we love, and you see them kind of play such small venues, and then you see them headline something like Alexandra Palace, and it really feels like you've kind of grown up with a band and have an emotional connection with that kind of thing. But my number 1 was back in May. It was a metalcore dream lineup. Opened with Guilt Trip, then it was Light Moth to Flames, then it was Devil Wears Prada, and then it was Landmarks. And this was at Electric Brixton, which has fast become probably my second favourite venue behind Underworld. It was incredible. My first time seeing Landmarks on a headline set. First time seeing Creature live, which, as you've already heard, is my song of the year. So already had fallen in love with it by that point. It was absolutely incredible. It blew me away. 4 phenomenal bands, 4 phenomenal sets in a phenomenal venue. It just stands out as something incredibly special for me.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Go on, Dan.
All right then. So number 3, I'm going for Big Fat Big at the Library, because my new favourite band,
Is he allowed to do
Worst
this?
Wishes.
You've stolen
with a
something that
support
I was
band.
going to do in the next one.
And it was just such a really special evening to see some of my best mates, who I know have worked so hard on this project, finally unleash it into the world. And it was just such a special moment to be at the front, wearing that jersey, singing the words, pointing my fingers along. It was brilliant, and I can't wait to do it again in January. Number 2, it's another Oxford one, and like purely for how stacked the lineup was. It's Dream State at the Bullingdon, with support from Graphic Nature, Lestelle, and Aramea. Were there anyone else?
No, that was it.
That was it.
Darla.
But
No, that was
Yeah, on that one?
That was
that
Everything
that
Unfolds.
was Everything
Oh,
Unfolds. Yeah, what a stacked lineup. Like, every band were excellent. All the mates there. Just a really, really good night. That's what a gig's all about.
Yeah, agreed.
And it was only in Oxford, so we didn't have to travel too far to get home.
Hell yeah.
Get back to bed in a good
Uh,
time.
Now, I know that Sleep Token is going to be amazing, but I feel like I can't really put it as my gig of the year because it hasn't actually happened. So what I have done is picked one that has actually happened, and that's Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties at the Exchange in Bristol, because I've tried to like explain it to you guys before, but it's just hard to put into words how just amazingly uplifting it is hearing such sad songs with like trumpets and like trombones and stuff, and singing along with, I say so many people. They're small venues, but like smaller venues, when everyone's singing, just like holds it all in together. It's just such a special and unique feeling, like the cathartic release you get singing along to those songs, which are ultimately about someone having the worst time of their life, but there's trumpets, so they feel that, and like the feeling of everyone in unity singing all the words just feels like such a special like occasion. So every time it's an Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, it's been amazing. But that's the first time I've seen them with the full band, with none of them missing due to COVID or anything, and it was just beautiful. And I hope it's not the end of this band, so I get to do it again sometime soon.
Ali.
Well, this award, or this category, has made me realise that I've been to absolutely fuck all this year. I've been skint.
Me too.
I've not had the time off work. Granted, because I did go to Disney World. But I don't know. This has probably been like the quietest year for gigs for me since like well before the pandemic, I think, which is a shame, but still had some absolute crackers. So at number 3, I have Beartooth Polaris Landmarks. Stacked lineup. Every band was sick. Even though I think I preferred Landmarks out of all 3, it was still the perfect like progression in like energy and excitement amongst the crowd as the night went on. And Caleb Shomo is like just one of the best frontmen, period. Like not even within heavy music, I think he's just got like the gift of being in front of a crowd and making them his. Like I think he could win over any room. At number 2, I've got Block Party at their Gunnersbury Park.
Yeah.
One of the parks.
Was it Gunnersbury, I think?
At a park. Block Party performed Silent Alarm and their greatest hits in London. Crystal Palace Park. There it is.
Neither of the ones that we were
Neither of the ones I
suggesting.
just said. And I have just such a profound love for that band that it felt really like gratifying to be in such a big audience enjoying those songs. I think Silent Alarm is an album that is like truly timeless to me. So to be able to hear those songs now as an adult, it's kind of weird because it's like they were probably my age if not a bit younger, when they wrote it. And now I'm like mid-20s, listening to those songs and like understanding them in a different way than I did when I was 15 and first heard them. So love that band so much, and I had a really great time. But number one for me,
Is it what I think it's going to be?
it was Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, Wembley Night 2. I don't care if he leaves. It was unreal. I had so much fun. Take into account the fact that I saw Paramore as well, who are like
Banger.
one of my childhood and adolescent like emo favourites.
Emo faves.
So it was like a bucket list to be able to see Paramore, and Taylor Swift's show was fucking brilliant. I loved it. I loved every second of it, and I had a good time. So it was my best gig of the year. I don't know why you're acting shocked. Like you didn't expect that.
Not shocked, just disappointed. I'm
Well,
not
I
angry.
don't
I'm
care.
just disappointed.
Whatever.
People like different things, man.
That I guess just by proxy, Beartooth Polaris Landmarks is gig of the year.
I guess because two of you chose
Yeah.
Beartooth.
I guess.
Guess it has to be.
We haven't really done as many
We haven't
gigs
done much
together.
together.
have
We haven't
we?
done much together.
We've all kind of gone
Yeah.
off to our own like different gigs and stuff. Yeah, I guess that's gig of
Do
the
you
year.
know what? I'm trying to think of. I think the only gig we all did together was Boston Manor in Oxford.
Graphic Nature and Dream State, you were there, weren't you?
Oh, I was there for that.
That was your first gig of the year, and that was
Yeah.
April.
I didn't go to.
So I think we've only
I didn't
done-
go
we've only
to.
done
I didn't
those
go to
two.
As Everything Unfolds.
No, that's only been those two gigs I think we've all done, like the three of us have done together.
Bonkers. We gotta fucking sort ourselves out next year.
We do.
Start going to more stuff. Anyway, yeah.
We will. We'll make that our New Year's resolution.
On a technicality, the best gig of the year was Beartooth, Polaris, and Landmarks.
Set of the year.
So this is the individual set by a band, so
Mm.
it could be within a gig, it could be within a festival. The one set that really stood out as the best you've seen this year. Do you want to kick us off?
I'd love to. Let me just take a look at my list,
Go
see what
for
I've
it.
put in this category. Number 3, we've been to quite a few festivals this year.
We
and
have.
I've interpreted this category as mainly being for festivals.
Mhm.
And one of the was it the first festival we went to?
Slam
Yeah,
D
I
would
think-
be the first.
Yeah, I think the first festival we went to this summer was Slam Dunk Festival, and the first band that I saw at Slam Dunk Festival this year was Beauty School, and that was my favourite set of the day. And yeah, my third favourite set of the year, because it was just such a brilliant way to start the day. Soupy came out to do his verse in Reaper, and yeah, it was like we've said so many times that when a band is having fun on stage, you'll have fun in the crowd, like whether you know them or not. And I know Beauty School. Alex, you don't know them as well, but you said you had a great time at that set as well.
So fun.
So for me, that just says it all. Brilliant set. So much fun.
Infectious. They
Got to
are.
be in the top 3. Number 2, I'm going for Enter Shikari at Download Festival. Not only because it was just an excellent set from them in terms of the set list, like going through all the different eras, much like Taylor Swift at the Eras Tour, but also much not like Taylor Swift at the Eras Tour. But also just because that set felt like a big statement, because it was earlier that day, I believe it was earlier that day anyway, that we'd found that they'd been like the figureheads of getting Download to part ways with some of their sponsors that were Barclaycard being one of them, for various reasons.
Felt like Dan was
Name
setting
and
that up.
shame that
Dan
shit.
was setting up that up to not name them.
I was like, fuck it, name them.
For various reasons, which I don't think we're allowed to go into on YouTube, but you know what they are. So it felt like almost like a victory lap for them doing that set, and there would have been a lot of eyes on them. They made statements relating to what they were talking about during the set as well, and it felt like a lot of bands weren't taking the opportunity to do that. So I felt that they did a lot of people proud, and they did myself proud as like a lifelong and Shikari fan pretty much, and that set just felt very, very important for them. But it feels silly whatever I put at number 1 after saying how important that set was now. But number 1 is Unpeople at Burn It Down Festival, because you'd forgotten about that, hadn't you? Unpeople at Burn It Down Festival. I mean, even before we went, we knew that was going to be a special set. Like we felt like that band are already too big for that slot, and they're a band that we're not going to see playing those kind of slots again, I don't think. So it was a very in the moment kind of set, and it was just so rowdy, so much fun, and I don't think it's one I'll ever forget.
I feel like you may have
Top
to rethink
that,
yours
boys.
now. So do you want me to go?
No, I can go.
Go for it.
So that is going to be one of my honourable mentions because that was ludicrous. How good that was. Can I honourable mention Taylor Swift's Lover era from the set?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. I'll recommend. I'll honourable mention to the
just,
Lover era.
Just part of
Just that era.
that
Well,
part
no,
of the set.
the whole show was great, but that part of the set was my favourite. I think.
Is that your favourite Taylor Swift album?
No. It's a close second. My favourite Taylor Swift album is Folklore,
Mm.
for anyone that cares. But that one had the best, like, that opened the set. It's got huge bangers. It was brilliant. At number 3, I've got Paramore at the Eras Tour. As I said, I've been a lifelong Paramore fan. It was a bucket list dream to see them. The fact that they played Wembley is insane to me. And I loved it. Despite being, like, way up in the gods and could barely see. I could feel the energy from where I was, and they were brilliant.
It's Hayley Williams down there.
There she is. At number 2, I've got Limp Bizkit at Download.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Unfucking believable.
Oh well.
They are just quite simply one of the sickest bands ever, and this set proved that. The only band I think in history that can get away with playing the same song to open and close the set. Perfect. But number 1 for me, mainly because the band was so fucking sick, but also because it has a lot of very sentimental value to me, is Better Lovers at 2000 Trees. Because I spent the set with my brother James at the barrier dying.
Brother James.
Yeah.
Basically feeling like my back was going to get caved in, but I wouldn't have changed it for the world. It was so much fun. And yeah, just to be able to like be that close to that much chaos felt like really lucky. And what's crazy is like I enjoyed that set despite at the time we only had the EP.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that set was kind of unknown to us. And it'd probably be interesting in retrospect to go back and look at videos and be like, oh, that's from the album. We didn't know at the time. But that was the best set of Trees and my personal favourite set of the whole year.
I've got honourable mentions as well. One is Alpha Wolf at Download. First time I've ever had the chance to see them. First time they've played Download off the back of Half Living Things coming out earlier this year, which is a phenomenal, incredible album. To see them, and the first time having the back and forths with Lucas. We got to have both sides of that from the Lost and the Longing EP, which was incredible to watch. Another honourable mention goes to Worst Wishes. You stole that. I had that planned for this as well.
Sorry, mate.
But just individually as a set, to watch the four of you do that and be incredibly proud of the hard work you've put into that just stands out as something that was incredible to watch in particular. So again, go get tickets for the show coming up in January.
Thank you.
So there's great parking in Whitney, by the way.
There is really
like,
good parking in Whitney.
Even if you don't know where Whitney is, you can drive there really easily.
Fat Lils, nice, easy, small venue.
Great venue as well.
See him before they headlined 2000 Trees at some point. My actual awards, in number 3 is 1056 at Burn It Down Festival. A band that I'd really started getting into right beforehand. Had so much intrigue into how that set was going to look and how it was going to kind of appear live, what the sound was going to be like, and was absolutely blown away. Just came off the back of that. Just kind of speechless, to be honest. An absolutely phenomenal band, and I think they're going to have an amazing 2025 next year. Number 2 is Better Lovers at 2000 Trees. Kind of echo everything that you said. We'd never done Barrier together at a show before, let alone me ever having done Barrier for anything ever. So we had a lot of fun during that, just watching, again, echo completely what you said, the best set of 2000 Trees by a fucking far for me. The chaos, the energy, Greg climbing up and jumping off scaffolding within the tent, being kicked in the face multiple times and absolutely loving it because you had to kind of just buy into all of that It was absolutely phenomenal, and I can't now wait to see them in January at Electric Brixton. We're going to have so much fun with that. But my set of the year is Landmarks' headline set at Electric Brixton. I'd seen them at Slam Dunk last year, being 2023. First time seeing them, not really knowing them. Completely fell in love with them after that. And then having their own headline set, I just remember coming out of that gig in particular, me and Glennie were just like blown away. It was absolutely phenomenal. Perfect set, perfect venue. Best set I've saw this year. I would say by default, Better Lovers at 2,000 Trees, I think. Set of the year.
Worthy winner.
Festival food of the year.
So I was stood near at the back for that Better Lovers set because my tummy was rumbling. I was feeling a bit hungry. So as much as I wanted to see that set out, I really need to get some food. Because what is a festival without its food? Mm-hmm. So this year we've introduced a new category. You've guessed it. It's festival food. We'll start with James. He's the food guy normally.
Are we going for 3?
Preferably, yeah.
So
3 meals a day.
I mean, that is important with it. I would say at number 3, I can't remember the name of it, but in our purple camp...
I can't remember the name of any of mine.
I've got a couple. In purple camp, where we were at Downloads, the breakfast baguette that I had, that was kind of down the bottom of the hill towards near the entrance bit, that set me up on one of the mornings and was absolutely bloody gorgeous. So back, I went and got another one the next day.
Nice.
Absolutely incredible. Number 2 is going to be hilariously controversial.
Yep, I know it immediately. Yep.
Yorkie Pud.
Yum yum.
Yorkie Pud.
Had the good Yorkie Puds in the village and not the one that gave you the shits. So
I feel like we need to maybe clear up that the bad pud.
No, James doesn't need to clear up.
James didn't.
I was fine. My stomach was good.
The bad pud
was
was not the actual pud people. Is that correct?
No, I think
they
it was.
were
No,
part
I'm
of
thinking
Yorkie
of the
Pud
chicken
people.
box.
Yeah.
That was the chicken box.
Yeah, the
got
chicken
there.
box was some kind of weird franchise.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Allegedly.
I was going to say let's not.
I'm not into.
Let's not
like,
drag the pud through the mud.
Yeah, I've not read up on my festival food politics. To be fair,
don't worry. Fuck 'em. They gave people a shit.
Yeah. So I think it was the one in the arena
Safe, not
that
dangerous.
was not safe, and the one in the village was safe.
are you
I
sure?
had the
Because
safe one.
I thought I read that the one in the village had some issues as well.
No, I had it on that day when
Maybe
everyone
you're
else
just
was having
built
it.
different.
Yeah,
Maybe I am just built different.
Iron
Who
stomach.
knows? But I still loved it. It was like a Sunday roast. We've done it a few times in years past.
Won't be doing it again.
Oh, I will. Fuck it.
it's probably the safest time to do it.
That is true. My
It's
number
the safest
one.
time to Yorkie Pud.
My number one is, it all ties to breakfast, to be honest, for the most part, is going to Susie's.
Oh,
At 2,000 Trees,
Banger.
you know what you're going to get. There is a reason, if you go at a time, at peak time
Queue's
for
fucked.
meals,
Yeah.
the queue's going to be huge. And you'll complain and you'll bitch about it. But there is a fucking reason. The food there is incredible. One of the best coffees you'll have at 2,000 Trees as well. Susie's absolutely bang for food. My number one for festival food. Easy.
fair enough.
Come on, Alex.
Oh, okay. Mine is not going to be specific dishes, but more just general stuff. That's all right.
I don't know why, but like for some reason you calling the dishes.
Like
I'm
not
finding
gonna
really
say
funny.
This one van on this one site. I'm going to just be a bit more general.
Right.
Number 3 is a pizza. Mostly for the
Okay.
practicality of being able to carry it quite easily in the box. Because when you've got the little fucking like paper bowls and you're trying to like eat some bullshit and you're like, this is fucking pissing me off. So pizza, number 3. Number 2, I'm immediately contradicting myself by saying a specific dish. At Trees, there was a katsu curry baguette.
Ooh.
And it was really nice. Katsu curry chicken baguette. So that was good. Number 1, maybe like the sushi roll, the long sushi roll, which I don't get enough of. I always like, I should probably get this like every day, but I don't.
Well,
So
lessons learned.
I'm
Lessons
immediately
learned.
having more food things come into my head that are just making me even change picks. but
We've
I'll
got
stay
some
with what
more
I've got.
honourable mentions.
Honourable mentions.
Honourable munchins.
Oh,
Very
I like
nice.
that.
Very nice.
The sausage roll bit place at
Oh,
Trees.
yeah.
the
I had the sausage roll.
I didn't have one, but
I
those
had
were
the
good.
sausage roll with beans, and it was so good one day. I had it
Yeah.
another day. The paella stand that's at Trees and at Download, same one. I had it at both times.
we
That
had
was
pad
absolutely
thai
incredible.
at
Have
Trees.
any
The
of-
pad thai at Trees, yes.
Have any of
Um,
us ever had bunny chow?
Yes.
No,
I've had that. It's
Because
good.
everyone
Yeah.
raves about that.
And there was one other thing
I
that
don't
came
wanna-
into my
but
mind.
none of us have put it in
Support
top
though.
3.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was the other thing I had that really came to mind?
So,
Oh,
final day food, maybe.
the Philly cheesesteak sandwich at Trees.
stuff.
Trees in general
Trees-
have amazing food.
Maybe we should reframe this award to which festival has the best food.
2000 Trees.
But then Burn It Down has a Taco Bell.
You see, this
Yeah, but I wouldn't
this brings
class
me
that.
on to my top 3 because my number 3 gets in at a technicality because
Well,
it's not technically part of the festival, but Weatherspoon's Breakfast, Burn It Down Festival. It was an elite way to start the day.
Yeah.
Just excellent. Just all of us just sat around a table like talking about what we're going to do in the upcoming day, like just chatting shit, like
Funnily
essentially
enough-
writing like comedy sketches
Yeah.
and stuff.
Funny enough, the opening scene of Reservoir Dogs is them all sat in like a cafe
There we go.
eating breakfast.
It's relevant to the vlog.
Can I do you one better and say Beaconsfield Services after Slam Dunk? Can that
That's a
count?
good shout as well.
Good old Becky.
What's my number
Sacred
2?
Room.
Oh, my number 2 is the pizza place at Trees. I can't remember the name of it, but
Oh God, yeah, as well.
every year, just outstanding.
The cheese pool you had
Oh, it's beautiful.
Mag-
was
Magnificent.
incredible.
Oh yeah, the
Didn't
Trees
Rob get
pizza.
that on camera? I don't think I ever got the clip off of him.
We'll
I think
get
so.
it.
I think it's another
Maybe.
vlog. I think it's another vlog.
I can't remember.
They
I
had
think I got it.
They had some rave music going
Rave
on
music on,
this
which is-
year, which is a bit odd.
Yeah.
But still, like again, as Alex said, the easy carry nature of a pizza,
Mhm.
and the short walk back to the campsite the Trees allows you. We could, if we wanted to, just walk back to the tent and munch on it there.
Mm.
But yeah, that pizza is just perfect every time.
Yep.
You can't go wrong with it. But my number 1, again, I don't remember the name of the vendor, but I had a stunning mac and cheese at Download Festival this year. It was
Stunning
it
mac
was-
and cheese. Sorry, just the way you worded that.
Can I also just say, we've talked more eloquently in this award than anything else so far. We've been like, I kind of like this band.
Yeah.
Stunning.
The Ragamuffin Music Awards,
Right.
and we're here for food.
I don't know if Download did something different this year, but usually at a festival, you don't get any greens. You don't really get enough vegetables around. But this mac and cheese, they stuck some salad on top of it.
Wow.
A bit of rocket just to sweeten the pot.
Christ.
It was one of the best things I've ever eaten at a festival. It was lovely.
Fair enough.
I think
I hope they're there again next year.
collectively, let's reframe it then for the actual overall as the best festival that has food.
Yeah, I think we've all put
And
enough
I
trees
think
stuff in there, haven't we?
Trees
Yeah,
takes
Trees
best
has
festival
great
food as a
food.
general overarching thing.
That was an absolute mess of a category, and we've awarded it to something that isn't technically the category. But
That's the most passionate
well
I've felt
done.
about a category so far.
2,000 trees for having the best festival food.
Well done.
Yep.
And Burn It Down was a close runner-up with
Yep.
food that isn't even part of the festival.
Just
It's part of the
a restaurant
experience.
that's there.
Spoons.
Festival of the Year.
So on from festival food to actual festival. We haven't been to as many as we have done in previous years, but I think they have all been absolutely phenomenal festivals this year.
We've still done a hell of a lot, and
yeah.
we have vlogged every single one of them.
So you can go back and watch those and relive it and look back at warmer parts of the year while the weather is dreary, dark and gloomy at the moment. Alex,
Yes.
talk us through your festival of the year.
Sure. At number 3, I've got a joint between Slam Dunk and Download. Download probably would have been higher if not for the weather. And at the time, it actually didn't bother me that much. Once I'd made peace with it after about maybe a day and a half that we were going to be wet, I was actually fine with it. But it's like the retrospect of like thinking about all the bands I could have moshed to that I didn't, because like Code Orange, Counterparts, Biscuit kind of didn't really have a choice. You were kind of, if you were anywhere close, you were moving. But like on the whole, there were so many more bands that I would have gone a bit more apeshit for had I not been stuck in the mud. And that's tied with Slam Dunk because I bloody love Slam Dunk. This was probably like the easiest slam dunk for me, because normally it's like actually really stressful trying to plan my schedule, and I'm usually like leaving sets early or getting to sets late. This was one of the first years in quite some time that we've been where I was able to like relax into my day a lot more, and actually it was better for it. And that's not to say that the lineup wasn't better. The lineup was really good. It just like it fell for me in such a perfect way that I was able to enjoy full sets. I wasn't rushing around from one stage to the other, one site of the festival to the other. I was able to really take my time and enjoy everything. And I saw bucket list band in All American Rejects. So for that, I will always be happy. At number 2, I've got Burn It Down. This is fast becoming like my favourite weekend of the year. For a multitude of reasons. It's the boys having a little boys weekend, which is always a treat. But I feel like we've done with Burn It Down what we've done with Trees, in the sense that each year we go back with one more person, and like then another person, and then they bring someone else. And I like the joy of sharing something like that with our friends.
Yeah.
And I think Burn It Down is like was run so smoothly this year, and like last year was great, and yet they were still able to make improvements. Things like the merch market was so much better. Just a festival that's like run by great people, puts great bands on, attracts a really great crowd, like no complaints, no notes, perfect. But my festival of the year is 2000 Trees, and I love it with my whole heart. It was home to some of my favourite sets of the whole year. Better Lovers, loved Don Broco's headline set. Movements were great. My mind's gone blank now that I've said that.
Better Lovers,
Hot
Boston
Mulligan.
Manor, Dream
Hot
Stay.
Mulligan, Boston Manors, both sets were good. The Forest especially. Just brilliant. I love Trees forever and always. So that's my favourite festival this year.
I've been going through this and kind of changing places for all different ones. But I think I've kind of got it solidified. I'll go with number 3 being Slam Dunk. So many incredible bands that I was able to see on in one day, and you kind of look back at that and think of, I got to see all of those in one area, which isn't always possible. And it's a very kind of special and unique thing still to have, and always a phenomenal way to kickstart festival season. The Ghost Inside, I Prevail sets were definite standouts for me in particular. So again, the Stick to Your Gun set, I look back at that and just the circle pit going around the sound tent, everything like that. There were so many phenomenal things part of it. Number 2, I'll go with Burn It Down. Again, for something that where there's almost no notes to make on it, there were still improvements they made, and you can tell it comes from a lot of place of caring about the music. It's always a pleasure. Like, it's a bit more of a trek for us as well, but it's always a pleasure to go down there for it, and we have a fantastic time. And I think a lot of that has also been down to how well it's run as a festival. It's incredibly professional, and I think if people haven't been to Burn It Down, I can't really recommend it enough. Number 1 will be Download for me, and I think a lot of that comes down to, yes, the weather was shit. We still had a great group of people that went. I liked the new additions of bits and pieces on the early days, like the chili eating and the hot dog. I think that made it fun, something a little bit new. If there's another food challenge next year, I'm very interested to actually enter it. And I think there were so many incredible sets. Like I said earlier on, getting the Holding Absence Alfwolf back and forths, I think was absolutely incredible. The counterpart set of just running in off of the top of Curtis's shoulders was just so fun. So many incredible bands on there, and it's always nice. I think it's like our group summer holiday. And although it wasn't really summer,
It didn't feel very summery.
It didn't feel very summery, but there's still, I think, the wonderful thing of, like, we have our smaller festivals sometimes, obviously, where there's less of us that go, but to be able to go with a big group of people, just going and staying in the Airbnb the night before and just having such a laugh with everything.
That was a game changer this year, by the way.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that happens again. It's like a family kind of thing. It's like a family holiday. And I just treasure that a lot.
So number 3 for me is Slam Dunk Festival. Like, not just because of how well they redeemed themselves from the previous year, but it was just such, as Alex said, an easy day. Like, it wasn't as crowded as it has been in the past, but it wasn't quiet. Like it was still busy. There was still
Yeah.
a lot of people there. And even though I basically just stayed at the one stage for the whole day because that's where all the stuff that I liked was, that's like clearly a deliberate thing by the bookers. Like they've put specific genres on specific stages, so you don't need to be worried too much, or at least this year you didn't need to be worried too much about clashes unless you're into loads of different stuff. It was just such a fun and easy day, seeing so many bands, bumping into so many people that we know as well. Yeah, such a fun day, and I'm looking forward to next year as well.
Hell yeah.
Number 2 for me is Burn It Down Festival. Just because of like the whole experience, with it being something different, it's not in a field like a lot of other festivals are. It's in like a town centre, and of all these sort of small multi-venue festivals that have popped up, this is definitely the best one that I've been to. It kind of has the same energy that Slam Dunk Festival used to have, but on a much smaller scale, on a very friendly scale, and not only like the festival experience as a punter, being able to go and see all these bands in these small venues in like such a tiny town, but like the way they look after ourselves as well as our like press experience, where we've had the opportunity to interview all these bands and just sort of hang around and speak to so many brilliant people, both sort of in the industry and the punters just at the festival as well. It's just such a great weekend and a great place, great people to be around. And as you guys said as well, such a brilliantly run festival.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, they seem to be kind of hyping up their lineup quite a bit. I'm really intrigued as to who they've booked for next year.
Very excited.
I'm sure we'll be reporting the news to you as soon as we hear it. But number 1, it's Trees. It's just got to be. It's got to be Trees. Put that on a t-shirt. For the same reasons as Burn It Down, but also the fact that it's just such a community spirit. It feels like a family being at Trees, and like it sounds silly saying we're going home every time we go to Trees because it's only like half an hour down the road, but it does feel like home. And especially this year, the amount of our viewers that just like took the time to chat to us and like tell us like and like show how much attention they've paid to like the videos and stuff. Like one of them made you a friendship bracelet. Like
Big up.
that's
Love
insane.
Mm.
But yeah, just the community that Trees seems to attract just seems to like encapsulate the energy of what we do as well. So it just feels like
Our spiritual home.
yeah, exactly.
So that will make the 2 first places 2,000
Yeah.
Trees 2024 Festival of the Year.
Easy fucking treesy.
Easy fucking
Yeah.
cheesy. Let's drink to that, boys.
Cheers. Cheers.
Does that retain the award from last year?
I probably.
Probably. Can I have a wee?
Go for it.
Yeah.
So stare through me as you carry her coffin. I can't imagine the pain you were suffering.
Album artwork of the year.
Visuals, I think, will be making a comeback this year, like we talked about with music video. And then we're now going to go into album artwork. Do you want to kick us off?
Well, you say they've been making a comeback, but I've only picked one
Okay. You tell me what
because I've
you
not
think.
been all that impressed by everything else. So I've picked Knock Loose. You won't go before you're supposed to. Just such a striking image. Instantly iconic. I think it's one of those images that's going to like stand the test of time within the album artwork sphere, whatever you want to say. That's the only one I got.
I'm picturing a sphere made up of album artwork.
And what's in it, Dan?
Well, my 3. Number 3, I've put Neck Deep with the album Neck Deep. Because I think the artwork's really cool. It's got like a bit of a almost like pop art, cartoony Disney vibe to it. I think it's really nice. They're kind of using that artwork for their tour as well. Looks great. Love it. Instantly recognisable. It's what you want from some artwork. Number 2, I'm putting Knock Loose. For the same reasons Alex has said. It's just visually striking. It's immediately iconic. And all I've done there is just repeat exactly what you said.
There's an echo in here.
Echo. Number 1, Trash Boat, Heaven Can Wait. Banger. No more notes.
Number 3, I can still hear that echo. Not Loose. I think, it's subtle. It doesn't have to be too much that happens on an album artwork. It's very striking. You can see it immediately, know it's them. And I think the way they've also adapted it into their live show with just having that big cross lit up behind them, I think is fantastic. Yeah, true. I think it is really fantastic. Number 2, I've put Half Living Things by Alpha Wolf. I think it stands out very strongly, coming from an actual drawing as well in an age, especially in time now where a lot of bands are immediately criticised for using AI.
And by the way, you can spot an AI album cover a mile
Oh,
off.
100%. I think like when they showed off like the graphics of it being drawn up as well, I think that was really cool. And so that's number 2. And number 1 for me is an album that I've literally picked up from Truck today, which you can also go buy albums at truckmusic.store. Is this gorgeous beauty? Highly Irresponsible from Better Lovers. I think it's the epitome of the chaos that you get within the album. It's absolutely incredible. That's my album artwork of the year. Very visually striking.
But I think by our imaginary point system, that puts Knock Loose at number 1.
Album artwork of the year.
The Ragamuffin Club, Album of the Year.
And now it's time to hear from the Ragamuffin Club. We put out one poll initially on there of essentially a big list of over 30, maybe even 40 albums that have come out this year, which people added to as well. They could vote multiple times within that. After that, we kind of narrowed it down to the main ones that had votes.
We didn't kind of narrow it down.
We did narrow it down. And so a second poll was created, and none of them know the results of this, so they're finding it out now as well.
Neither do I.
Neither do you.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
the only
know.
one that knows the results of this, essentially. And so...
Does it have a drum roll before you open that tab? The Ragamuffin Club Album of the Year, as voted for by the members of the Ragamuffin Club Facebook group, which you can join in the link in the bio.
Reverse order.
Yeah.
It's going to be reverse order.
For the top 3, in joint third place, we have Make Them Suffer with their self-titled album, and we have The Story So Far with I Want to Disappear.
Congratulations.
In joint second place, we have Bring Me the Horizon with Posthuman Next Gen, and Alpha Wolf with Half Living Things. The Ragamuffin Club Album of the Year is Not Loose, You Won't Go Before You're Supposed to.
Thank you to the club for voting.
Yes, thank you very much.
Well done.
Like we've always said, we want you to be just as involved in the discussion as us. So there will probably be more stuff to vote on next year.
More stuff to vote on, and I think much more interactive stuff throughout the year.
Yes.
We want to see your involvement within
sure.
this. We love hearing from you guys. So if you're not part of the club, again, links in the description. Come and join in the conversations.
Album of the Year.
Now we're on to what I would call the big 2.
The big 2.
You know what, I call them the big 2 as well.
The big 2.
Yeah, to their face.
Album of the Year and Artist of the Year. This is how we're closing it off. It's been an incredible one. I think one of you said earlier, I think you said earlier about Song of the Year being very difficult for you and having a long list.
Mm-hmm.
I had that for Album of the Year this year. It's been incredibly difficult. I think there have been so many releases, and I only settled on my decisions for this today.
Interesting.
You going to say something?
Just interesting, as we just went through those nominees there in the club awards, we've not mentioned Bring Me the Horizon once.
No.
Just some food for thought.
Now we have.
Oh, yeah, now we have.
Well, yeah, one of us might have.
One of us might have it in Album
the
of the
top 3.
You never know.
We don't.
In third place for me is Highly Irresponsible by Better Lovers. After seeing their set at Trees this year, getting to hear some of those songs that weren't previously released and on here was lovely. I think it captures the essence of their sound amazingly well. I think you listen to that album, you feel like you're at a live show, yet it's still capturing the recording, which is something extremely difficult to do. It is controlled chaos throughout takes you on a journey, and I think there are so many standout songs. It's exactly what I wanted out of a Better Lovers debut album. It's incredible. Number 2 is an album that came out in January that I have revisited time and time again. I described it as being like underneath a warm blanket. It's Casey How's Disappear. It's absolutely gorgeous as a release. There are so many standout songs on there, and an album that can easily be listened to front to back multiple times through. It's extremely strong and a gorgeous album, and I highly recommend it if people haven't listened to it. My album of the year, however, is Half Living Things by Alpha Wolf. I love this release. I have listened to it front to back too many times and will still continue to do so. I think there are incredible standout songs on there. It's the best overall release out of their catalogue, and for me, it's the album that I have gone back to as a whole to want to listen to again and again throughout the year. No doubt for me, that's my album of 2024.
Nice.
That is nice.
It's nice.
Nice.
That's brilliant.
My go.
Yeah, go on.
All right then. Thanks. At number 3, to Josh's approval, I'm sure, I'm putting Los Campesinos, All Hell. They're a band that Josh has been trying to get us into for a long time, and this new album has finally dragged me in. It's, again, another one that I revisited time and time again. It's just such a mix of kind of indie and emo, and just with playful lyrics, but also emotional ones at the same time. Quite a lengthy album, but like every step of the journey from the first track to the last just is a joy, and I love listening to it front to back all the time. Number 2 is Casey, How to Disappear. Is it How to Disappear?
Yeah.
Number 2 is Casey, How to Disappear. Again, another album that's just beautiful from front to back. Stunning lyrically, and something I've always loved about Casey is the way that the vocalist Tom isn't the only one singing, and the backing vocalists aren't the only ones singing. The guitars and the bass are singing as well in some kind of way, and it just like creates just a beautiful like theme throughout the whole thing, which, as James correctly describes, is like a warm blanket, just tucking you in and telling you everything's going to be all right. I'd like to claim some involvement in the physical release of this album as well, through Truck and the Dinked Edition group, because they asked for suggestions on what to put in the special edition vinyl, and I said some lyric cards would be great, and alas, it's got some lyric cards in it. So that's another like connection for me to this album as well, which I'm taking some credit for, whether it was actually my input or not.
Nah, it was all down to you.
Thanks, man. But number 1 is Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, In Lieu of Flowers. I have never studied an album harder than I have this one. For people that haven't like listened to me talk about Aaron West before, it's like a concept album by Dan Campbell from the Wonder Years, well, a concept project. And over the last decade, we've kind of like followed the journey of this character, Aaron West, as he goes through a divorce, copes with like losing family, alcoholism, and just generally having the worst time of his life. And this album is the third in a trilogy that kind of shows him sort of getting some closure finally, and kind of coping with everything and healing. And that journey for the past 10 years finally coming to an end has been like a really emotional listen. And there's so many like clues and things listed through this album, callbacks to other stuff, like questions that you have in album 1 that are answered in album 3, and it's just so well thought out, and I couldn't like see anything else being my number 1 this year. Go and listen to it if you haven't.
Oh yeah, I struggled with this one a lot. I had a lot of honourable mentions, which we haven't done a lot this year. Normally we throw quite a lot in, but I will say, and this is a band that have been like probably on like the 4 or 5 spot all the way through my year this year, is Graphic Nature. Here Are You and No One Is Watching is a flawless follow-up to their debut. It expands their sort of audio world in like the best and most creative way. So I love that album. Heavy Jelly by Soft Play is an album that I spent a really considerable amount of time with, and again is like just missed out on being in there for me. for ages I spent a lot of time saying to myself, this is really good for a soft play album, and then had to actually correct myself and say, no, this is just a really good album. Felt like I was sort of like backhand complimenting it by limiting like how good I think I can let it be, but I think it's like their best album and a really exciting like return chapter for them. At number 3, I've got Speed with Only One Mode. I love this band so much. I love the Gang Called Speed EP, and I think this is a really cool just development of that sound and like a further exploration into what they can do. I think there's like new elements, not just like stuff like the flute, which obviously is cool, but like it feels like they're more conscious of like sing-songy bits and like more crowd involvement that isn't just like two-step and emotion. So I think that's a really great album. At number 2, I've got All You Embrace by One Step Closer. Again, for me, I just feel like this is an album that people just aren't talking about enough, and I think it's just brilliant within that sort of like emo, hardcore, punk sort of alternative space. I think this album is like just miles beyond anything else that any other band is doing. At number 1, though, I have Knock Loose with You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To. I still don't think it's Knock Loose at their best. I think A Tear in the Fabric of Life is their best body of work.
I agree.
Yep.
However, the more I've sat with this album this year, the more it's like just quite literally feel like this album has like dawned on me. It feels like something it's like loomed over me as the year's gone on, and like the shadow of this album has just eclipsed everything else. Like the more time I've spent with it, it's just become this behemoth of an album. The only thing that, to me, that stops it from being a perfect album is I just think Slaughterhouse 2 was kind of an unnecessary song. Takes my personal flow of the album out a bit, but other than that, it's fantastic. So that's my album of the year. I think
By my
By
reckoning,
point system.
is that Casey?
that is Casey.
Casey, How to Disappear is Ragamuffin Album of the Year 2024.
When all I wanna know is how to disappear without leaving you to worry about me.
Artist of the Year.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Last award, Artist of the Year.
There's been a lot of artists that have had years.
They've had years. And they've had good years. And they've had good 2024s. I want to kick it off.
Yeah.
In 3, I have Graphic Nature. I think if you look at it as an overall year for that band, as you say, it would be an honorable mention for me as well. An incredible sophomore album. Absolutely amazing. The set they did in particular at Burn It Down, hearing some of those songs after that album had come out, I think was amazing to have. Something I'm not being a massive standout for me in particular. I think it's one of their best songs to date.
Yeah.
The show they did in Oxford as well, to see that in that venue, the intensity with it was phenomenal. Obviously having the chance to interview them again was lovely, and can attest to being such incredible people, which obviously makes your relationship with bands change once you can meet the artists and you see how genuine they are. I think it's incredible. They've still got to cap off this year with these 2 headline shows. They've got the best breakthrough artist at the Heavy Music Awards. They've just had such an incredible 2024 as a whole collective.
Breakthrough album.
That's the one. But
Doesn't
they've
matter.
had such a great whole 2024 and incredible growth, and you can still only see it trending upwards. They are phenomenal. I've had a great year. In 2, I've got Will Putney.
Fair enough.
I think with the work that he's put in with both Fit for an Autopsy and Better Lovers on their releases is incredible. To be part of two albums and have 2 very phenomenal releases from essentially what is born from him, especially the Fit stuff. Like, it's been very much, he does not go on tour, but he is there constantly writing. That album was, again, an honourable mention for me with Album of the Year, even though I didn't necessarily say it then, but it is absolutely amazing. The work he's done with Better Lovers as well. And as a side note, with what he's done producing with so many bands and how much of an influence he has had on music in 2024, even the years prior as well. I think he deserves a massive mention for that, and so I think it's very crucial to the heavy scene. But I had to look again. Why? Because it's very, very obvious. I think for me, Artist of the Year goes to Not Loose. An incredible release. The way they've stepped up. They have now also been nominated for a Grammy. You can only see things trending up from the build that they had last year with all the Coachella sets and how amazing that became. They've just stepped up to another level, and I think have just blown 2024 out the water. You see them on amazing tours supporting Slipknot and Madison Square Garden. And I think that's off the back of an incredible release, consistency, and with that album still as popular as it is and how big they've blown up, they've not compromised their sound. If anything, at parts of that, they've gone heavier. And so to see that a band stay true to who they are and become the size they are and do the things they've done. They're on Jimmy Kimmel in America late this week, which is ridiculous. It's a testament to what they've done, and I think for me, they are the artist of 2024.
So my number 3 is a band that have already been mentioned this evening. It's Soft Play. They've had an incredible comeback. As Alex said, they've come back and released the best album of their careers. They've been playing some amazing shows. Seeing them at Truck was awesome. And I don't see them stopping anytime soon. I just think they're going to take this momentum with them onto the next album cycle. I mean, there's probably still another year of this one as well. Really excited to see what they keep on doing. Number 2, it's Graphic Nature. They won a bloody Heavy Music Award. They released a bloody excellent album. They've been playing loads of bloody great shows. They've been supporting Skindred at the moment on tour. They supported Skindred on tour early in the year as well. They've just been grafting, and they're
Grafting Nature.
and they're reaping the rewards,
Mm-hmm.
and quite deservingly so.
Very
Although, speaking of awards, it doesn't put them at my number 1, sadly.
Who is your number one, Dan?
I need to check my notes again. My number 1's Unpeople.
Ooh, yeah.
Just a massive breakout year. It's quite easy to throw around the term industry plant. When you see a band that are just getting so many opportunities, it's easy to put a label on them like that. But this band are getting those opportunities off the back of just being seemingly really great people. I've not met any of them, but they seem lovely. And just putting out just banging music. I think that, I mean, they're being picked up by so many bands and so many festivals, and being picked up by like Radio 1 DJs and stuff as well. And there's a reason for it, is because they're making brilliant music, and I think they're gonna be even bigger next year. Hopefully an album soon, that'd be great. But yeah, they're my artist of the year.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I've seen them live as well. Again, as I
so
mentioned
good.
earlier, set of the year, so that comes into it as well. Artist of the year for me is Unpeople.
Hell yeah. I've got a number 3, People.
Oof.
If we had a breakout artist category, that I think they would easily take it. But I just echo everything you just said. They're one of the most fun bands on record, live. Everything they do is infectious, and they deserve like all the opportunities that are coming their way at the moment. They're going to be huge. Number 2, Graphic Nature. What a bloody year they've had. They're the top boys, and we love them, and we've said enough good things about them. They know that they're fucking sick, so they're number 2. And at number 1, my artist of the year, Not Loose.
I really
They are
wanted you to
just-
say Taylor Swift then.
I thought about it, you know. They're just the best. Like, to see such like uncompromising heavy music at the forefront of like, essentially, they're seeping into like pop culture now. Ironically, that's what their first EP was called. So the fact that they're now Grammy nominated
Full circle.
on Jimmy Kimmel, like, I think it's easy for a band like that to blow up and for fans to sort of like kind of turn on them or like kind of resent the success. You see it all the time when it's like a band is like a best kept secret and then they emerge and suddenly like the public opinion shifts. But the fact that like Not Loose still have nothing but like unconditional love from their fans, and deservedly so, is really special, and I think that's because they are rewarding their fans with like not compromising their sound, pushing the barriers of what a hardcore band can do beyond like anyone's expectations. So I think they have owned this year for me.
I think that makes them also Ragamuffin Artist of the Year for 2024. Not loose.
It's not loose.
That's
it.
2024. That's a Ragamuffin Awards 2024.
Wow.
Christ, that's mad to think it's been 4 years we've done it. So roll on year number 5 next year. It's been an incredible year of music, so many different ways.
Looking forward to another year.
Another year of phenomenal tunes in 2025. Thank you for all the support that you've given us throughout this year. Like say, like being lucky enough to meet so many people at various gigs, festivals this year. It's always something that we never take for granted. So from us, as we kind of close out 24, thank you very much for everything you've done and supported with us. We really appreciate it. And let's push forward into 2025 with even more. I think we've got plans for things we want to do in the future. Make things very exciting and keep pressing on and talking about this old music we love.
This is the place to do it.
Let us know in the comments your picks for 2024 awards. Bring Me the Horizon snubbed. No mentions.
No mentions.
Unbelievable. Yeah, let us know, and we'll see you in the new year. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Ho bloody ho.
Bye. Subscribe.
Buy a t-shirt.
Buy a t-shirt.
Subscribe. Do that red button that's down here somewhere. Press it. Thank you.